Welcome back, everybody. I'm Sean LaFlock. I'm here with Scotty Hagness. This is Conversations, Fitness, Wellness, and Longevity. Scotty, I love the tank top.
Hey, it's a super old school tank top, by the way.
You're looking buff, dude. It's
No, I'm
all
skinny.
it's all jerks and snatches. Sounds a lot like my gym.
Trivia: what gym is this from?
Oh man, I couldn't tell you. Where is that
Yeah,
from?
it's actually from the original CrossFit NorCal, Rob
I was
Wolf's
gonna
gym back
say,
in the
yeah,
day.
had to have
Yeah,
been something that OG because what you guys are the third CrossFit?
I think they were roughly, I don't know, fourth, fifth, something like
Yeah,
that.
but you were in the
Yeah,
first 10.
we're in the first 20 something,
Okay.
25 ish, I think, are roughly our number.
Wow. Jeez. It's crazy. And now there's 3,000 over 4,000 worldwide. They replayed the 60 Minutes piece with Greg Glassman. I got about 3 or 4 text messages about it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh man, they're having this Greg Glassman guy talking about CrossFit. And it's interesting. I don't know if they did an update to it because I know that there was a bunch of people that they were suing. And they actually, I think it came out last month or so that they were suing, I think, NSCA about that article they published, how, about CrossFit, but it wasn't necessarily about the results of the article. It was the fact that they had multiple participants drop out due to injury. They said that, and then they followed up CrossFit and they asked, why did you guys drop out? And it was like, oh, due to time control. It wasn't due to injury, but they put that because and that was what they went after him about. And they were 100% right, which was, I mean, it is what it is. Like, if you're going to publish something, you better, it better be vetted and you better be actually doing your due diligence about, not lying in it, which was a blatant lie.
right.
Because,
Yeah,
it painted the picture that they wanted to do. It fit the
yeah.
narrative. Oh, we're going to, kind of throw CrossFit under the bus. They couldn't even get participants to stay in the study, let alone get any good information from it. Fascinating stuff.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
how was your ride, Scott?
Oh, right. It was a lot of fun. It went well. I would say it felt more anaerobic this year. I don't know if that was from a less true on bike time or just how gnarly the two climbs were.
Uh-huh.
Because my riding partner also thought the top part was unusually rough. And then when he did one of those relive animations off his GPS data, and it's like, oh, I didn't realize it was that steep at the top.
Oh,
You
wow.
look at it and watch the elevation climb. Well, we had some great fun descents, and yeah, it was good. Good to get away for a couple days.
Pretty technical?
There was more technical. Yeah, that was part of the idea. We wanted to do shorter rides where we get into the technical stuff fresh because we had done one of the sections before, and it was at the end of like 8 hours, and we were just cooked, and we weren't really able to enjoy it. More like just survive your way down kind of thing. Where this time, we were only like 2 hours in and hit it pretty fresh. And then the same with the second descent was faster. It was only the second day was about a 4 hour ride. But more climbing.
Sounded fun.
It was.
How was the weather this year?
Really nice again. It's been unusually warm out here,
Uh-huh.
but that elevation kept it. It was probably, I would say, mid-80s during the day where we were at.
Warm.
We're trending back toward the hundreds here this next week out here in Portland. That's a little unusual.
Yeah. Yeah, I think because of the sea breezes and that kind of stuff, it doesn't get hundreds, but it'll get, it's consistently in the high 80s, and then in the middle of the day, it'll get to 90s. Yesterday, it was warm. In the gym, it was 92 degrees.
Brutal.
And it was, we were working with, 70% humidity, whatever it might be. But today, actually, a little bit more pleasant, a little bit more air kind of flowing through, so it's not the worst thing ever. But we're so close. We got about 6 weeks left, and then we'll start to feel every once in a while a cool breeze, and then November will roll around, and then we'll be home free.
Yeah.
It's funny how we're praying for this stuff, and we're just praying for our lives to go by quicker. It's so depressing.
That is kind of a bummer. Yeah. I'll take the heat. It'll be gone soon.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting. As you were saying that, it reminded me of a documentary I just saw. It came out on Netflix. I don't know if anybody's mentioned to you or maybe you've seen it. The documentary Icarus.
Oh, I've heard of it. Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, so maybe before I kind of get into it, I don't, maybe check it out first because I'd love to talk to you about it a little bit. And, I think it's a worthwhile material to kind of go over relative to the sport that we talk about because, I think performance-ending drugs are something that are constantly talked about and like, oh, everybody's clean or everybody's not clean. Everybody does drugs. Well, how do we prove it? What kind of testing do we do? And I think it's just a fascinating documentary that we could probably talk about.
Yeah, that is a good one. I wrote a little note here to try and
absolutely
get through that. Yeah.
I figure maybe we'd finish up the last event, last day or two events for the
finish out the games and put a bow on it.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Finish out 2017. So we got through the last workout, the second workout of Saturday, which was the 3 rounds of four rounds of run, 24 air squats, and then 12 burpee box jump overs to a 30-inch box. We talked about that last week. The last workout of that day was a kind of like a chipperish kind of deal with ring muscle ups. I believe it was 10 ring muscle ups, handstand walk, heavy D-ball carry, and then like 3 rounds of that. Oh, there were wall balls in there too, 20 wall balls with a 20-pound wall ball or a 14-pound wall ball. I think it was a 14-pound wall ball. So going into that workout after a lot of fatigue for a lot of the women, it was, you look at that workout on paper, it's a muscle up workout. All the other things, the handstand walks aren't a significant amount to deter anybody necessarily. The D-ball was just pick it up and go. So at this level, the ladies really didn't have too much of an issue. Maybe it just kind of elevated your heart rate a little bit. Wall balls definitely for the shorter athletes would be a challenge and pre-fatigue them for the handstand and then the carry. But it all comes down to the muscle ups and what you got left in the tank and how confident you are there. So going into the workout, we had tested that workout in training, and I think she did like 4-3-3 on the first set, and then did doubles from then on out. Looking at the technique and kind of stuff, we try to hone in as much as we could over the next week to try and maximize the efficiency on the movement. So in the warm up area, definitely tired from the second workout. It was a hot workout. And, she was redlining for probably about 10 minutes. So it was just a lot of suffering. So, like, before we go out, I was like, I'm pretty sure she needs a cup of coffee or something just to kind of keep the energy higher. So I, ran out. It was, perfect timing. Got a cup of coffee, ran back in. She had a few sips of it. And it, worked out well there. But I was like, this workout can go 1 or 2 ways. This could go really well, or this can be a complete egg. And just the way she was warming up, I was like, all right, she looks okay. Could this just be like confidence and just be like, I got this? Is this like I'm phoning it in? And just based upon the athlete that I work with, Myra really doesn't ever phone any workouts in. She's going to give the best she can on every given workout, but sometimes you just don't have it.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, all right, let's see how the warm up looks. They look pretty good on the muscle ups. I was like, the handstand walks and the carries aren't going to be much of anything. The biggest difference was when we did it in training, her legs were relatively fresh for the wall balls. She did a few wall balls in the warm up, and she was like, these wall balls are going to be brutal. I'm going to probably break these up into 5s. I was like, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, just think everybody else is going to feel the same way. She comes out, and I believe in training we did 5 and 5 actually. So I was like, let's do 4-3-3 if we need to. You make the call during the workout. She's placed right next to Becca Voigt. And as Becca's doing the warm-up, I'm like, oh, my God. She is so good at muscle-ups. I'm like, this is why she makes it to the games every year. She is elite when it comes to efficiency on muscle-ups. So I was like, well, this is great because you're going to be right next to the person who's going to be dictating the pace on this workout. So 3, 2, 1, go. Myra opens up the set of 5 and looks fairly strong. Becca goes unbroken. So she goes 5, rests about 10, 15 seconds, and then she goes 3, 4, and then hits the 5th. And bang, she's done with the first set of muscle-ups. And she separates herself with Becca and catches up to her on the handstand walks. No one else is really right there just yet. Everybody's being more conservative on the muscle-ups and 2s and 3s. She gets through the handstand walk. She gets through the ball carry. The wall ball, she did 10 and 10. She gets back to the rings, and then I think she hits a set of 3, a set of 2, a set of 2, and then actually finishes out with a set of 3. And it's like, shit, like, this is awesome. This is exactly what we needed. Becca separates herself a little bit more just because she was doing like another set of 5, and then she did like 3-2 or something like that. So she basically, that was it for her. Like she was just gonna pull away on the muscle ups. But other girls started getting more competitive there. Get back to the last set of muscle ups. I believe she did like maybe a 3 in there or something like that. But very consistent, no misses. Very, very, very efficient. Like we did better on the muscle ups there than we did in the training. And she then did the wall balls and just suffered through the last 2 sets of 10. Grabbed the D ball and just carried that sucker the 50 feet that she needed to go and crossed the line. Like it was a huge workout for her because she placed 5th on it. But like I said before, that could have been a workout where she could have easily placed in the bottom 10. You miss a muscle up, 30 seconds goes by, and that's it. But
yeah,
she just knocked it out of the park, and it was a huge. Like looking at her before the workout, I'm like, this isn't the ideal circumstances right now. Let's see how this goes. And she did better in the games than she did in training, when she was probably a lot more fresh in training than she was at the games.
Yeah, pretty cool. Excellent.
Yeah. In looking at that workout, we overachieved on it. How do we get better at that? I mean, I think that's something probably we can discuss now, like muscle ups, right? And under some pretty significant fatigue and breathing. Are there things that you have worked with for female athletes in particular that have improved their muscle up technique, but also efficiency during workouts?
I mean, definitely worked on it. It's kind of one of those things where you have to eye the movement and what's going
Yeah.
on in it
Yep.
really specifically and break it down to its component part and find the limiting factor. So it'd be really different, for each person.
Do you find it's a more of a technical efficiency thing, or is it an overall strength thing that limits most women on the muscle up?
Usually it's sort of a strength deficit. Um, most have learned it from a kipping standpoint and may have been able to blow through, say, a weak transition, or maybe no false grip as a fallback, or just an inefficient, movement in general,
Yep.
or leaking energy on the descent. I've typically, if I had to say in general, working off-season strict work, maybe with particular pauses and tempos, or assistance via use of bands, or we have one of the the Dream Machine deals.
Oh, Dream Machine ring thing. Oh, that's awesome. Cool.
So that's something I'll employ quite a bit to work on weak points. So transition works, which is basically hit the bottom of your deepest dip you can. You come through just to here,
and then right back through.
Right back. You're just moving this portion. That sort of thing. But it's very dependent on the athlete.
Yeah. It's
I mean, it can be.
Go ahead, Scott.
It can be as specific. I mean, we all know that lots of athletes under fatigue do a little bit of the sweater thing. That'll happen with some athletes.
Yep.
That's a hard one to root out. I had a project here with someone I was working with individually this year that went really, really well, but it took going back and segmenting it with pauses, like, once focusing on just one shoulder transitioning, which eventually evened them out. And then there was a shift on the press, so we had to do an isometric pause, calculate, reset, press out symmetrically.
Yep.
And by breaking into components and putting it all back together, eventually it actually worked remarkably well for this particular individual.
That's awesome. It's interesting because, the other gymnastics movements that she does are very good. Like, I think she can do probably like 35 to 40 unbroken chest to bar pull-ups. Bar muscle ups are a joke. Like, probably, 20 to 30 strung together. The rings is where it changes. I think because of her background of gymnastics, I believe that she probably has much more feel for the bar in terms of like a cast kip, but you really can't do a cast on the rings because you don't have the lever, you don't have the bar in a fixed, or the rings aren't in a fixed position. So it's almost like you got to create that yourself. So right now we're kind of playing around with different techniques and kind of feeling that out. We're, right now, based upon what we saw at the games, we're doing a ton of strict tempo dips, progressing, and now we're doing like strict tempo dips into kipping just to kind of build efficiency in the kip. So lots of volume right now, and hopefully that transitions to a more strong catch position. But I think the swing itself needed to be addressed just because the toes kind of outpace the hips, so she's having to pull herself over the rings rather than keeping it in like a hollow position and then driving her hips earlier so that she can actually rotate through the rings a little bit more. So we're
That
trying
makes
to,
sense. Yeah.
again, like, because there's so many great athletes, but they don't do it in the same ways necessarily.
Right.
So, and there's some, coaches, who are hybrid CrossFit gymnastics coaches that teach it one way, others that teach it another. So I guess it's at the end of the day what works best for the athlete. But, right now we're kind of in the play stage of like seeing what works for us, I guess, right now. But I know that's an area that we need to dominate on, just because, that could potentially be the difference of making it as a regional athlete and not at all.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, if you can maximize that one, it's always one in your pocket,
Yeah, and the other thing is that they haven't they haven't even put it in the open in the last couple of years. So, I mean, if you haven't been preparing for it, you better be, I guess, right?
I wonder if some folks have eased back on ring and muscle preparation
and worked more on
just
bar.
because it hasn't been. Yeah,
I would love for it to be bar all the time, just because that's so much better for us. But we are working on ring because I think that's just going to be where eventually everything goes. Where the rubber hits the road. You know what I mean? Like that's.
I'm gonna guess we come back to ring muscle ups this year.
Has to be. Yeah. But yeah. So then again, we overachieved on that workout, and we ended the day very nicely. I think we were 1 point out of first place. So I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, we're going into weekend or the last day, 1 point out of first place. I'd sign up for that.
Yeah.
Of all the shit that happened, drowning, getting outpaced on workouts just because you're taller, like that kind of stuff. Like, it is what it is. So we're 1 point out of first place going into the last day. They announced the workouts that evening. I was the first workout was Diane, and then you rested 3 minutes, and then you did 6 rope climbs and then 30 thrusters with 95 pounds. I think it was 95, or no, 80 pounds or something like that. And when the workout came out, I was like, yes. I'm like, this is a great workout for her. And I'm like, thank God it's not rowing. Thank God it's not skier. No more like, I'm like, this is a great workout. Like, this is going to end up very, very well for her. She's got to rest up and see what we have for tomorrow. And got good rest, ate, rested. Got up the next day. We had a little bit extra time between the morning. I think we had to report at 12, so we didn't have to get there too early. The event was at 2 o'clock, and they were the last event of the weekend. So as we were warming up, I really was pushing to her. I'm like, you're going to have to go. You're going to have to go, and you're going to have to go fast, because the way that these gals are going to rep out these deadlifts and these handstand push-ups are going to be scary. So you're going to have to go faster than you think you're comfortable doing. So in the warm-ups, I was really pushing for that. We just kind of built up to 155. Didn't really want to do any more deadlifts than we had to. Made sure that her kip and her handstand push-ups were smooth and efficient. No butt hitting the wall, just because it was a standard thing. And we tried to rev up the engine a little bit. Did a couple rope climbs. Those looked pretty solid. And then hit a few thrusters. And I was like, you know what? This looks good. I mean, we're just going to see how fast everybody else goes and what you have left in the tank. I've done Diane before, and I think 2:58 is my best time, 2:56. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure you're kind of be under that 3-minute mark. And I think that's going to be a good score. And 3, 2, 1, go. Kristen Clever just leaves her body and just smashes it. I think she did it in like maybe 2 minutes. She did the entire thing.
I think she's done sub 2 before.
Yeah, in the regionals in 2012, she had done like 2 minutes with Annie or something like that. So she does handstand push-ups just because she's so small, and the deadlifts are just such a short range of motion. So I was like, doesn't matter. She was already in 12th place or something like that. Myra goes unbroken, and finishes, I don't know, 10th.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was just speed of repetitions, speed of contractions. And in talking about what we've talked about, the speed of contraction is limited by your aerobic ability. You know what I mean? Like, can you sustain, like, yeah, you could be on a rower for 3 minutes, but what are you doing on that row for that 3 minutes? So that right there, I was like, man, like she just didn't have it on that workout. I'm like, she did it unbroken and did it in 2:40, maybe even faster. I'm like, I can't be disappointed with that. Like, she did exactly what she wanted to do there.
Yeah.
But I was like, at that point, I'm like, this is going to be bad. I'm like, I was just like, because I know how hard she went there, and I'm like, 3 minutes, like she had like 4 minutes to recover. I'm like, unless she leaves her body and just fucking hammers it, like this is going to be bad, because I looked at the other girls too, and they looked fresh, and Myra hadn't gotten up off the floor until
Oh,
like the
yeah.
1 minute warning. I was like, just
Oh, boy.
hold on, Myra, hold on as much as you can. So 3, 2, 1, go. I was like, she's efficient at rope climb. She's a taller athlete. She'll probably be at a bit of an advantage there, but you could just tell her heart rate just couldn't come down. And 3 rope
Yeah.
climbs in, her pace started to slow. She was, I think, in 5th or 6th after the rope climb, and then they went over to the thrusters, and fuck, did she show heart. She just picked up the bar and just hit like 5 or whatever, like as much as she could, dropped it, picked it back up, like it was just survival mode. She didn't
Yeah.
leave absolutely anything. I mean, she just suffered for a good 2 minutes. Like, it's as best as she could do. She just didn't have the tools in the toolbox to actually get that workout done the way that she needed to to win. The girl Sarah Scholl just destroyed it. She just showed that she's a metabolic monster. That was a beautiful workout for her. Becca did well. I think Becca might have won that workout, and that put her onto the podium. I believe she ended up finishing second or third. She finished third, I think. The winner ended up being Roy, and then second was a gal who was a great gal. Name escapes me right now, but it was a tough last 2 workouts. On paper, I thought the higher skill level would level the playing field, but these girls, it was just metabolic. It was just a hard metabolic go of it.
Yeah. You think it was kind of a case of the aerobic system just kind of ran out of juice from the chronic.
Yep, that sounds about right to
Yeah,
me.
that's what that sounds. Yeah, because had those workouts been reordered, let's say she had encountered those same 2 workouts on day 1 and 2, let's say,
Yep,
you're pretty sure it would be a
I think it would be
significantly
a
different result through
whole.
those workouts, right?
It's a good point. Like if we were to see that on Saturday morning, or excuse me, Friday morning, because she was her CNS was in good position, good shape on that bike workout. Like, she was fresh. We see those workouts on Friday. It's a different story. I think it really
Yeah,
is. But at that point, we dipped so hard on the day before with those workouts. I wasn't surprised that she just didn't have anything left. And that's
yeah,
not a discredit to her. It's just where we are in our training. And it's interesting
yeah,
how even though we trained our butt off over the last like 6 months, it's still a 2-year process,
yeah,
because like she just laid a base layer of aerobic, like just base aerobic work, and was able to place 5th at the CrossFit Games. Like, I'm really excited to see, like right now, even only like about a month into training, I would give her those workouts right now, and I know she would smash them. She would kill these workouts, just because like she's learning how to breathe. She's more confident in her abilities. And we've put. I gave her some stuff that she hasn't touched in a while, and she's like, "This is great. I love it. It's feeling so much better." So it's amazing how some of those movements that are maybe a little bit more higher skill, because the skill is so beautiful and so technically sound, you throw some aerobic ability behind it, and all of a sudden you're supercharged. So you don't
yeah,
actually have to do 6 million chest to bar pull-ups to get better at chest to bar pull-ups. You work on your technical efficiency, and then you add that aerobic ability in there, and then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, now we're working with some rocket fuel.
mm-hmm.
So I'm excited.
Yeah,
She has the. Fortunately and unfortunately, she wasn't invited to the Wadapalooza as an automatic invite, so she's going to have to go through the qualifier, which great, like gives us an opportunity to kind of test where we're at a little bit. So I think in 2 weeks she'll start that for a 3-week go. So is it kind of suck that she has to kind of do these workouts? Yes, but it's right in her wheelhouse now of what we're trying to test. So we're going to do another. I think we're going to build for probably 1 more week, and then back off, and then do the qualifier, and then get back on it in October. So is it the worst thing in the world to see this stuff? No, I think it's going to be a nice little like taper testing, and then get back into the more aerobic work. But she's strong right now. She hand cleaned jerk 220 the other day. She pause snatched 165. that's really not too bad. We're working a little bit more single leg work just to kind of work on some of the maintenance stuff and make sure that she's healthy and her hips are good and her
Yeah.
lower back is good. So we don't have any setbacks there.
Good.
Realistically, we got to work on a high aerobic ability. If she wants to make the regionals next year, that's it. She's going to have to be great at burpee box jump overs, great at cycling a dumbbell because they're going to be those, and back up her beautiful skill acquisition and technique with a high ability to turn over quickly. That's it. And
Yeah.
In 6 months' time, we'll see where the chips lay.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, that was cool getting that perspective of all the events, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool. In wrapping everything up, man, like it gives me so much more insight of what you have to do as a coach at the games. Like I was completely just dialed in, selfless the entire time. I have a pretty big ego when it comes to shit being about me, and it was a big step for me to just be like, you know what, this is not about you for a weekend, like. And that's good. That's okay. Like you can let go of that for just a little while and hopefully work with somebody to allow them to maximize their potential. And I really do think she did as best as she could that weekend. Given the workouts, given her fitness ability, she did 110%. Like, surpassed herself in a lot of ways.
Yeah, sound like it was really went about as well as possible.
And it gives me confidence in terms of like where we're at. And I mean, I'm so self-conscious about like not being able to provide for my athletes the type of programming and coaching that they might need to make it to their true potential. But it was a confidence boost for me. I mean, she did awesome. I know there's areas that we need to improve on, but I know that I know. If I like put it through my hands, I'm like, well, that was it. I mean, like, I don't
know what to do now. Yeah, then that would be
But it helps to have resources like you and some other coaches and stuff like that to kind of throw things off of, just to kind of like see that I'm in the right ballpark at least.
Yeah, I think if we can, collectively talk about ideas, especially in these, with high level athletes, it's like, anyone's different experience may lend some insight here and there, and the more collaborative we can be, a little bit on stuff like that, I think just elevates us all better as coaches.
Exactly, man. I think if we really work together, we can, the tide,
lifts
all ships, kind of. The better that we do and we share, the better everybody's going to do. The better the competition will be, the better the sport will be, and it's just going to bring everybody to a higher level, I think. So it's very exciting where this sport could go in the next few years, and I'm pretty excited to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, that was awesome.
Yeah, man. You got anything else for today, there, Scott?
I think that's good for today, and we'll have to hit a different tangent next week, I guess.
Yeah, onward next week. Maybe you have to look at that Icarus, and we'll maybe follow up with that.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, I'm Sean. You can get me at Sean. I'm Sean LaFlock. You can get me at Sean at CrossFitDiaryBeach.com.
You don't just go by your first name?
No, not share.
I'm Scott Agnes. You can get me at Scott at CrossFitPortland.com.
Awesome, Scotty. I'll talk to you next week, dude.
Okay. Talk to you next week.
Bye.
Later.